Hello, everybody. So, this is another episode about the mandate of heaven. Heaven fired the king. How China turned rebellion into moral legitimacy. Every successful rebellion has one very awkward problem. Yesterday, rebellion was holy. Today, rebellion is illegal. Yesterday, you told people, though king is evil, though order is corrupt, the people are suffering. Heaven, history, justice, whatever word you prefer is on our side. Then you win. Congratulations. You now have a pilot, army, tax system, very serious problem. How do you stop the next guy from using your own argument against you? Because if you can overthrow the king because he's immoral, then what stops someone else from saying, actually, you are immoral too? See you at dawn. This is a hidden problem behind one of the greatest political ideas in Chinese history, the mandate of heaven, not just a religious belief, not just ancient poetry with clouds. The mandate of heaven was a political machine. You solve the most dangerous question after regime change. How do you turn successful violence into legitimate rule? Or more simply, how do you make winning look like morality? Zhou dynasty overthrew the Shang in ancient China. That's the historical drama, but the real drama began after the victory. Defeating the old king is one thing, explaining why you were allowed to defeat him is another. Because without a story, you are just as strong. And I'm strong is not a legitimate thing. That's a gangster business plan. So the Zhou dynasty needed something more elegant. They couldn't simply say, we won, therefore we rule. Too naked, too ugly and honest. Politics hates honesty when it has not been properly dressed. So this is something much better. We did not merely defeat the old king. Heaven had already abandoned him. We're not rebels, we're not how to spell it?
Usurpers.
We're not usurpers. We're not ambitious men who saw a strong and soul. The cheater looks emotionally available. No, we're the one heaven chose after the old king lost virtue. It's genius. A mandate of heaven turns military victory into moral judgment. You did not simply beat the old king. Heaven fired him. The sentence is the whole invention. That's why the mandate of heaven is so different from simple divine right. Divine right often says, God chooses king. The king rules because God placed him there. That can make power very stable, sometimes too stable. But if God put the king there, criticizing can start to feel like arguing with heaven's HR department. But the Chinese mandate of heaven had a twist. It says heaven can choose, but heaven can also withdraw. The ruler is legitimate only if he has virtue. If he becomes cruel, corrupt, chaotic, destructive, heaven may take back the mandate. This is politically brilliant because it does two opposite things at once. It justifies rebellion against a bad ruler, but it also makes rebellion difficult. You can't just say, I want power. You have to say, the ruler has lost virtue. The people are suffering. The order of the world has broken. Heaven has moved. So the mandate of heaven is not a free rebellion pass. It is rebellion license with extremely difficult paperwork. You need moral evidence, public suffering, cosmic language, political timing, military success, and ideally historians who are willing to make you look inevitable afterward. The genius is that Chinese political refuse to make power unconditional. A ruler could lose the right to rule. It's not a small idea. It means the throne is not simply private property. It means legitimacy depends on moral performance. The king is not legitimate forever just because his family has good branding. But the danger is obvious. How do we know heaven has withdrawn the mandate? Usually because the old regime loses. A flood happened, a famine spreads. The court became corrupt. Rebellion break out. Army march. The dynasty collapses. Then everyone looks back and say, clearly heaven was not pleased. Thank you, heaven. Very useful timing. That's a problem. The mandate of heaven began by saying virtue wins, but history often turns it into whoever wins had virtue. It's a dangerous flip. At first, morality judges victory. Later, victory starts producing morality. The winner doesn't only take the capital, the winner takes the explanation, the archive, the winner takes the right to say, that was not ambition, it's destiny. And once power conquers of destiny, it becomes much harder to question. It's, every region want more than obedience. It wants meaning. Power doesn't want to look like power. Power wants to look like justice. Nobody wants to say we took control because we were better organized and had sharper weapons. It sounds bad on a national holiday. So region tells story. Europe had divine right. King ruled by God's will. America had revolution, but after the revolution, it had to build a constitution. Because revolution is a fire, our regime is attempt to put the fire into a fireplace. The American Revolution say the king has violated our rights, but after independence, American couldn't simply say, everyone rebel whenever you feel spiritually inspired. So he created a secret political language. We the people, the Constitution, founding father, the supreme law of the land, liberty, republic. A revolution became an order. The fire got a fireplace, and Americans still gathered around every July 4th, eating grilled meat, celebrating anti-imperial rebellion with an empire-sized military budget. History has a sense of humor. The French Revolution had the same problem, but with much more screaming. It removed the king. Then it discovered that history still needed someone to give orders. The old secret language was monarchy and church. The new secret language became the people, the republic, reason, virtue, history, revolution. And once those words become sacred, they can become terrifying. Because if you oppose the king, you are a rebel. But if you oppose the people, now you're an enemy of humanity. That's much worse. The French Revolution did not end political religion. It changed the costume. The altar moved, the saints changed, the heretics changed, the guillotine stayed very busy. This is why the mandate of heaven not some exotic Chinese curiosity. It's one of the clearest early examples of universal political move. Every new power needs a story explaining why it is not merely power. China say, heaven choose the virtuous. Europe say, God crowned the king. America say, we the people. France say, the republic and the history. Modern politicians say, democracy gave us a mandate. Technocrats say science requires this. Parties say the people have spoken. Markets say the market has decided. Platforms say the algorithm recommends. Seem ancient, hunger, different branding. So let's return to Zhou dynasty. The Zhou problem was not just how do we defeat Shang, it was how do we make the defeat of Shang morally meaningful. The answer was narrate surgery. First, the old ruler had to become more than defeated. He had to become morally bankrupt. The fall of Shang was not just political collapse. It had to be interpreted as ethical failure. Second, Zhou's victory had to become more than military success. It had to become cosmic approval. Third, the new order had to become more than occupation. It had to become restoration. It's a political magic. You don't say we replace them. You say we restore the world. Every region loves the world. Restoration, renewal, rebirth, national revival, return to greatness. The future is always marketed as a return to something older and pure. Political power is very modern when it needs technology, very ancient when it needs legitimacy. So the heaven fire the king works so well. The mandate of heaven is like cosmic HR. The old king violated company values. They were performance issues. Team moral morale was low. Several rivers flooded. The people filed complaints. Heaven reviewed the case. Termination approval. Approved. New dynasty onboarded. Please update our roadshow calendar immediately. It's ridiculous, but also not ridiculous, because politics still does this. Modern government don't say heaven fired him. They say the people rejected him. History moved on. Democracy is spoken. Progress defeated reaction. Science settled the matter. The nation chose stability. We love an ancient heaven, but we still love invisible authorities. We renamed them. Heaven became history, democracy, science, market data, community standards. Modernity didn't destroy heaven. It outsourced heaven to institutions with worse graphic design. The deepest thing of the mandate of heaven is that it understood something brutal. Power needs morality after it wins. Before victory, power can survive on force. After victory, force alone is not enough. You need people to wake up tomorrow and believe the world makes sense under you. You need officials to serve you without thinking they are serving a criminal. You need parents to tell children your dynasty is legitimate. You need ritual, textbook, story. You need the dead old regime to look doomed. You need a new regime to look chosen. This is how conquest becomes order, how violence becomes memory, how a coup becomes a founding. That's how historians are sometimes more dangerous than generals. General wins the battle. Historians explain why the battle was always supposed to be won. So the mandate of heaven is both anti-tyranny and pro-power. It gives people language to condemn by rulers, but it also gives winner a language to sanctify themselves. It says a ruler must be virtuous, beautiful, but then it asks who can prove virtue. Usually the winner. Problem. It says heaven rejects tyranny, beautiful, but then it asks how do we know heaven rejected him? Because he lost. It says the people's suffering matters, beautiful. But after the new dynasty wins, the people return to being evidence in someone else's story. So now you know the mandate of heaven is so powerful and morally serious. It's structurally dangerous. It proves morality about power. Then lets power narrate morality after victory. That's a trap. That trap still exists. Every victorious movement say we are on the right side of history. Maybe, but who writes the history? Every party say the people have chosen us. Maybe, but who gets to define the people? Every institution say we are protecting the common good. Maybe, but who decides the good? Every platform say we enforce community standards. But who rules the standard? And why does a robot sound like a nervous lawyer? That's also why mandate is such a powerful word in English. When a politician wins an election, they say we have a mandate, not just votes, a mandate. The word means where victory carries moral instruction. The people did not merely choose us. They authorized our vision, validated our direction, blessed our project. But careful, a narrow win can call itself a mandate. A temporary mood can call itself destiny. A collision anger can call itself the people. A successful campaign can call itself history. This is the mandate of heaven problem in modern clothing. Victory wants to become more than victory. It wants to become permission. Then permission wants to become morality. Then morality wants to become silence. Because once the winners say, history has chosen us, disagreement becomes harder. You're not just disagreeing with the policy, you're standing in the way of history. Very rude. History was apparently walking somewhere with a clipboard, and you interrupted. What should we learn from China? Not just the mandate of heaven was primitive. It was brilliant. It solved the real problem. A society can't live by naked force. A throne needs moral conditions. A ruler should be judged. A dynasty should be able to Legitimacy is serious political wisdom, but the mandate shows a permanent danger. When the winner controls the story, morality becomes unstable. It can become a crown placed on success. The old king was evil because he lost. The new king is virtuous because he won. The rebellion was justice because it succeeded. The new order is destiny because it survived. At the point morality stops judging power, morality becomes power's autobiography. And power is always very flattering when writing about itself. So the question is, how does any new order prove it's not a success active force? It's every modern institutional question. Every system say we're legitimate, but legitimacy needs a source beyond muscle. Heaven, people, constitution, history, progress, security, market. Pick your favorite invisible authority. Power will find it. Power always wants to be adopted by something higher. Because power alone looks guilty, power with heaven looks sacred. Power with the people looks democratic. Power with history looks inevitable. Power with science looks objectable. Power with science looks objective. Power with safety looks caring. Power survives modernity, stops wearing a crown, starts wearing a principle. So the mandate of heaven teaches us the political legitimacy never about who rules. It's about who gets to explain why they rule. The battle is not only fought on the field, it's fought in language, in ritual, in memory, in textbooks, in ceremonies, in national holidays. In the sentence, every region wants people to believe we're not merely in power, we are supposed to be in power. The sentence is the real throne. Every civilization built one. China built it with heaven. Europe built it with God and crown. America built it with constitution and the people. Modern government built it with history, identity, progress, or justice. The question is not only who wants, but who turned winning into meaning. The mandate of heaven was one of humanity's greatest legitimacy invention because it told us dangerous truths. Power must answer to morality, but it hide a dangerous trick. Morality is often narrated by power after power wins. That's why we should neither mock it or worship. We should understand it. Because every China leader, party, corporation, platform say we're not just powerful. We're necessary, we are choosing, we're the future, we're what the people want, we are what safety requires, we are what progress demands. You're hearing an old sound, not always false, but always dangerous. The sound of victory trying to become virtue, the sound of power looking for heaven. The sound of throne asking for a hollow. The most dangerous victory is the one that nerves to call itself morality.